The Cru Arms Temp556, let's check it out. The Cru Arms Temp556. This is a gun that was designed in Canada, made in Canada, but also made here in the US in Michigan. This rifle was designed to get around the restrictive gun laws in Canada that ban AR-15s or make them a restrictive firearm. And because of some minor differences with the Temp556, it's allowed to be sold as a standard rifle. This has a short stroke piston, and yet it has a mid-length gas system. Monolithic upper receiver, has a folding stock. I mean, it's got a lot of really cool features and it makes it very robust. This is actually the original Crusader Arms Templar 556. And they had to make some name changes, so we thought we'd bring this out. I've had quite a bit of experience with it since then. One of the big things about this rifle as well is it has a self-regulating gas system. And so it works really well with suppressors. But we really appreciate Nate over at Gun Zone Deals for sending the Cru Arms Temp556, and this is a great rifle to check out. Now, the design of the Cru Arms was to give an alternative for restrictive firearms. The AR-15, it takes a lot of paperwork now to get one, and they're highly restricted. The reason why they can use this rifle, which pretty much does the same thing, is the takedown and pivot pins are about 1 millimeter difference. So you can't attach an AR-15 lower to this upper receiver. And that's really the big deal. This is really based on the AR-180, which was made back in the 1960s. A very proven design, piston system, and this one has that short stroke piston. Mid-length gas system, which really allows for this to have a lot smoother shooting. We have a 16-inch chrome molybdenum 4140 steel barrel, black nitride finish, bird cage. And the upper receiver is a monolithic piece. It has been machined out of one solid piece of aluminum, which gives it a lot of strength. There's a lot of rail system. There's a lot of M-lock accessory points all along 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. So this gives you a really sturdy platform all the way out to the end of the handguard. And so that way you can put PEC 15s or light laser designators, different things, and it retains zero. Now let's remove the magazine. This is a P-mag. It is a 25 round mag. I've got an insert in here to block it, and that's up to YouTube standards. And then also want to make sure the gun's unloaded. Right here is your charging handle. Pull it back. We can lock it into place right here, and the chamber is empty. HK slap, I mean, I love it. Now, we did an earlier review of the Crusader Arms Templar, and this is actually the same rifle, but they had to change the name because of some patent issues, and so now we have the Cru Arms Temp556. This is in the FDE version. It is Cerakote finish. There are a few differences with this and the Templar. But the Templar itself was a great rifle. We really enjoyed shooting it, especially with suppressors. It does have a self-regulating gas system, so it really shoots suppressors well. And we were using the Liberty Amendment suppressor. We're going to get into some of that a little bit later. Now, it has one of the folding stocks. This is the ACR style. It has an adjustable cheek piece, and it is adjustable length of pull. This is a little bit of an upgrade to the original. It's a much more solid design. This is actually made by Rex Defense. And so we have a button here, and it just locks over to the other side. It does not have a detent to hold it, but it does hold close to the receiver. And then bring it out and it locks up solid. That's one of the advantages of having a piston gun, is you don't have the buffer tube and spring coming back. But it also changes the recoil impulse of the rifle. So most of your action is more toward the front. And so it just shoots differently. This is a very flat shooting gun. It stays right on target. And a lot of that has to do with the piston system. Of course, this rifle, like most piston guns, are a little bit heavy. It has a steel trunnion, both rear and front trunnion. I mean, the bolt weighs 1 pound. And with all that steel, one thing they've added is steel rails inside the frame or the receiver. And we've got this plate here which has rails on it. And this is going to just facilitate the bolt back and forth, and it's not going to wear on the aluminum. And it has one also on the other side. So that is a big plus for this rifle. Some do not have that, and sooner or later they just wear out the aluminum. Now the gas system again is mid-length, but it's self-adjusting. And we did quite a bit of testing with suppressors to just check to see how this is, because this is a non-adjustable gas system. You do have a knob right here at the end where you can tune it a little bit, but really we had no problems shooting. We had the Liberty Amendment suppressor, and we shot a lot of rounds through there, both just soft shooting and also rapid fire. We had no malfunctions whatsoever. I mean, it just functioned, the ammunition. And we really appreciate Robbie Wheaton for helping out with that and, you know, just going through and testing this. One of the things in Canada is they don't have suppressors. And so at first they couldn't test it. And so that was one of the things we did with the original Templar, is to go ahead and just run it through its paces. You have your standard A2 birdcage. It is 1/2 by 28 threads. Now here we have the primary arms, and this is the ACSS Nova. Guys, I'm telling you, primary arms is the deal when it comes to really excellent optics. First focal plane, it's 1:6, and I mean, they just do extremely well. We have a cantilever scope, which is their PLX mount. So it really is a solid base on here, and that really helps to go ahead and get good accuracy, and we wanted to test that. A billet lower receiver, billet upper, from one piece of bar stock. The lower receiver, it does have a flared mag well, which is going to be really nice to get those magazines in and out. And it has your standard AR-15 mag release and your fire control system. In fact, this accepts any of your AR-15 style triggers. You do have, again, your fire control. But the one difference is we have our bolt stop, which is definitely a departure. But one thing I really like about it is that you just push it forward to release that bolt. Now this is your charging handle, and it can be switched to the other side. Bring it back, lock it into place. Again, just hit it and it goes home. And here's the other slot where you can switch this out. Now this does have a mil-spec trigger. You can get upgrades, but as you see, I mean, it's a really nice trigger, honestly. There's very little take up, reset right there. So fast reset. And guys, honestly, for a mil-spec trigger, at least this sample, this is really a great trigger. And again, if you don't like it, you can switch that out for any aftermarket trigger that'll fit your AR-15. Also, the pistol grip is definitely just AR-15. So a lot of parts compatibility. We give a big thanks to Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo, all made in the USA, one of the largest suppliers of ammunition in the country. I think it runs pretty good. The Cru Arms 556, piston driven, and guys, it is smooth as butter when you shoot it. Very little muzzle rise. It just tracks really well, stays on target. It is a heavy rifle, which makes it a little bit, you know, that's one of the things that probably tames the recoil even more. But all the action is toward the front, and it's just a very comfortable gun to shoot, using your standard P-mags, and of course, you know, you can just pull that charging handle back. It's right on the left side, which makes it great for right-handed shooters. Smooth shooting. I mean, it's just really, I'm watching it in the red dot. We have one of the primary arms SLX scopes, and these are great, but I'm just watching that dot barely move, and I can watch the muzzle. fairly rapidly. It just stays right there on target. I love the stock system, and of course, you know, I can just fold that over. Makes it a real compact gun. I'll tell you guys, it's just a heavy gun, but it's a smooth shooting gun. I like it. Now, as far as disassembly, let's go ahead and make sure the gun's unloaded. We don't have our magazine. So you're going to use a bench block. Just go back here behind the takedown pin. We're going to see if we can just push it out. May need a little bit of help. And then with our pivot pin, pop that out. And of course, just like your AR-15, those are going to be retained in the receiver. Now this is the part that's a little bit tricky, and when you lift this up, you want to make sure you capture the spring or the recoil spring. Now they do recommend setting this muzzle down on a table, but what we're going to do is we're going to take right here and just push this little black piece in front of your stock mount like that, and retain your finger on that recoil spring, and then it just comes right out. Next, we're going to just bring our bolt all the way back, and then we can pull it out. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, that is one more beefy bolt. It weighs 1 solid pound. Our firing pin, retainer pin, just like we do in your AR-15 bolt. You have a spring on the firing pin, and of course you can see that this is a little bit different than your standard AR-15. And you can see also that we have shot the fire out of this thing, and it is really dirty. Now we're going to pull out our cam pin, just comes right out, and then you can pull out your bolt. Also, similar to the AR-15, but definitely different. You don't have any gas rings, which is inherent with the DI gun. But a very robust, heavy block system. For reassembly, we're just going to put our bolt back in. And when you drop in your cam pin, you'll notice that the flats are the ones that are going to go out the top. So we're going to drop that in, pull it down. Go ahead and reinsert our firing pin. Now the firing pin needs to be fully depressed, and you have to collapse that gap to get it to fit. There it goes. You want to make sure that that retainer pin is flush, or it will hit on the side of the receiver. And guys, that's it, but that is really a sturdy bolt. Here to get a look at the interior of the receiver, and definitely AR-15 style barrel lockup. Here's your fire control group, and of course that trigger pack is the same as your standard AR. And then as we pull down our lever on our bolt release, you can see the mechanism that holds it into place. And it's pretty robust. And guys, that's all you need to do for disassembly. It's pretty easy, pretty intuitive. We're going to drop in our bolt, making sure that we have it in the correct position, and just bring it forward. Bring in your recoil springs and guide rod. You want to place them inside the bolt. There are 2 holes that correspond with the springs and the guides. We're going to go ahead and push in our pivot pin, lock it in, then take your recoil spring and guide rods and just go ahead and put it inside, and then drop it down and let it catch on the back of the receiver, just like that. And then we can close up our takedown pin. Go ahead and test for function, and we're back in business. Price $18.99 on the Gun Zone Deals website. They are the exclusive distributors for the Cru Arms Temp556. Compare that to your SCAR, which retails for $3,839. And so for a considerable less amount of money, but with a lot of the same features, and with the mid-length gas system, you're probably going to have a little softer shooting, a little less wear on your system. So I think that is a big plus in itself. So you're getting a really solid piston-driven short stroke system, very robust. I mean, a lot of quality in it, a little bit over half the price. And there are some other options out there, but guys, this has really been a solid rifle. The mid-length gas system, the 16-inch mid-profile barrel, black nitride, beautiful Cerakote finish, or you can get the black nitride black finish. the piston reliability, and being able to use suppressors without any issues. Of course, the folding stock, it's just a good solid. It gives it a really good look to the rifle. And again, a lot of AR-15 parts compatibility. Definitely some differences in the upper, but in the lower part, I mean, except for the bolt release, I mean, it's pretty solid. And uses your standard AR-15 magazines. Cons, 8-pound rifle. But that's inherent with most of your piston-driven guns. They're just fairly heavy, but they're solid. They shoot really smooth, and that's one of the things about this rifle is that, I mean, even watching and tracking the rifle as I pull the trigger, the scope just stayed right on the target. And of course, it is 556, so it's not really giving you a lot of recoil. But with the weight of the rifle and the size and that piston system, it just shoots differently. They also have a limited lifetime warranty on it that is transferable, so that's also a big plus. So guys, if you're looking for a short stroke piston rifle, one that can really handle suppressors and yet is very robust, has that folding stock, monolithic rail, I mean, it has a lot of features. Check out the Cru Arms Temp556. And again, we really appreciate Nate over at Gun Zone Deals for sending the Cru Arms Temp556 for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. This is one of the big little differences. 1 to 6, 1 and 7 twist. It's 4140 vanadium. Okay, I don't want to go into that. And with Canada AR-15s, I don't know if they're banned or not.